Hey, Jim Wolf here, and welcome to the 5-Second Confidence Secret. I'm so glad you decided to join us. So what is the 5-Second Confidence Secret? Well, in 5 seconds or less, here it is. If you try to live by anyone else's standards, you will never feel like you're good enough. If you try to live by anyone else's standards, you will never feel like you are good enough. That's probably one of the most important parts of the foundational level of your confidence, is having your own internalized standards and living by those exclusively. There are so many sets of standards out there that it is super important for you to develop your own. And the more you develop your own standards and the more you live by those, the more confident and secure you're going to feel. If you don't have your own standards, you're going to be constantly pulled around by everyone else's standards. There's going to be marketers that are trying to tell you this stuff is really cool, this stuff is good, this stuff is bad. There's going to be people in different cultures telling you what's good and bad. There's going to be all kinds of different people with different agendas trying to tell you what your standards should be. Instead, think about what is acceptable to you in your own life for both your own conduct and the people that you have in your life. What are your standards? And then I think it's also really important not to expect other people to live by your standards either. I think the seed, the heart of genuine confidence, is being a good person on your terms. Are you a good man on your terms? That's the question. And of course, sometimes you're going to have standards and you might do something that's outside of those standards. You might act outside of your integrity. And in that case, you'll want to correct that mistake for the next time. But for you to feel genuinely secure and genuinely confident, you need to have your own internalized standards. Now, you can get suggestions for what those standards should be from a lot of different sources, and that's totally fine. Just make sure that at the end of the day, whatever your standards are, make sure that you're owning them. Make sure that they're yours. That is so important. I can't stress it enough. And so start thinking about what your standards are and start living up to those, because you're never going to be able to live up to the standards of everyone else. If you try to do that, you will never feel like you're good enough. And again, there's some people who don't want you to feel secure and confident. They don't want you to feel like you're good enough. Because if you're already good enough right now, why would you need to buy more things to feel good about yourself? And so there's a lot of pressure to not follow your own standards, especially in modern Western society. But you can definitely do it. You can develop your own standards and then live by them. And again, I think that's the seed of your genuine confidence. And because I'm Jim Wolf and I always over-deliver, I'm going to give you a couple of more quick things before we go. Number one, having a growth mindset. This is so important. It's another confidence secret. Even if you develop your own standards and you try to live by them, you're going to make mistakes. I definitely do. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I definitely have some regrets just like you. That's going to happen. But it's really important to have a growth mindset. When you're learning a new skill or you're trying to make positive changes in your life, you're inevitably going to fail and make mistakes. And it's important not to think of those mistakes as some kind of an internal limit on what you can do. When you make a mistake, it's not an indication of some kind of limit on what you can do in your life or who you can be. It's just a mistake, and you can take that information and learn from it and do better next time. So make sure that we have a growth mindset. When we screw up, it's not because we're a bad person in general. It's because we're human, we made a mistake. Now we have some more information on how we want to live, and we can apply that to what we do going forward. So adopt a growth mindset right now if you haven't already. And then if you feel nervous before an event, before you're doing something, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It probably just means that you care about whatever it is that you're doing, which is really good. Most people hardly ever do anything that they really care about that much. So if you feel nervous, odds are it's because you're doing something that you think is meaningful and important. So that's really good, and you can use that nervousness as energy to propel you forward. There are a lot of high-level athletes that feel really nervous before their games, even if they're really experienced. There are players who've played in several Super Bowls who still get nervous before every single game. Some of them even throw up. But does that stop them from performing at a high level? No, it doesn't. They use that energy to push themselves forward. And just remember that if you're feeling something inside, that emotion, that internal state, is just a biological suggestion. You don't have to act based on what you feel. Just because you feel nervous doesn't mean that that thing that you're doing is not going to turn out well. It is not a predictor of the outcome. You can feel really nervous and still knock your performance out of the park. So stop thinking of nervousness as a negative thing if you're doing that. It's something that just means that you're doing something meaningful to you, which is a good thing. And then the last thing I want to leave you with before we move on is sometimes you need a little boost of confidence, and sometimes you want to calm yourself down. And I'm just going to give you one way to do both of those things right now. So if you want to pump yourself up, of course, you can listen to music or something like that. But Amy Cuddy has an awesome TED Talk about how your body language shapes your life. And in it, she talks about a power pose that you can do. And it's basically like what you would do if you just won an Olympic gold medal. And so if you kind of like raise your arms above your head and just like kind of celebrate your Olympic medal a little bit, if you do that for a couple of minutes before a big event, it's actually been shown to raise your testosterone, and in some circumstances, like a big job interview or something like that, that can actually increase your chances of getting hired in that case. And so if you need a little bit of a boost, you can pump yourself up by doing the victory pose for a couple of minutes. And I don't do it very well. Amy Cuddy does it a lot better, so you can check out her TED Talk if you want to see more about that. And then if you want to calm yourself down anytime, I'm going to give you 2 quick breathing techniques that you can do to make yourself a little bit calmer. And they both involve 3 steps instead of the normal 2. So normally when you're breathing, you're just breathing in and you're breathing out. Well, if you just add a 3rd step to your breathing, that's going to help you calm down anytime you want. So for example, instead of just breathing in for 5 counts and breathing out for 5 counts, if you breathe in for 5 counts and hold your breath for 5 counts and then breathe out for 5 counts, that will help you calm down. And you can just keep repeating that. So breathe in for 5 counts, hold your breath for 5 counts, and then breathe out for 5 counts. That 3-step breathing cycle is going to help you calm down. And one more advanced 3-step breathing technique that you can use if you want to calm down or even help yourself fall asleep faster is you can place your tongue at the tip of your upper teeth and then breathe in 4 counts through your nose, hold your breath for 7 counts, and then breathe out through your mouth for 8 counts. So breathe in through your nose 4 counts, hold your breath for 7 counts, and then breathe out through your mouth for 8 counts. And when you breathe out through your mouth, because of the positioning of your tongue in your upper mouth, it should make a sound like and that has been shown to help you calm down and even go to sleep faster. So those are some confidence secrets I wanted to share with you today. And as a thank you for taking action and watching the 5-second confidence secret today, I actually produced another free training video for you called How to Live Without Regret. In order to live the life that we really want to live, sometimes we have to take actions even when we're afraid. And there are tools that can help you do that. And so I want to share some of those tools with you right now for free inside my training video called How to Live Without Regret. It's 27 minutes, and you can check that out right now by clicking the link below. So I hope you enjoyed the 5-second confidence secret, and I'll see you in the next training.